Did you know the US doesn't have to send troops just because NATO allies do? Isn't it suspicious that he says you're going to feel the influence and then all of a sudden you're starting to hear from the UK and the EU and certain countries and they're like, we're going to send troops. Sending troops, just FYI, potential to start WW3, right? Just so we're all on the same page. There's a lot of talk about European countries sending troops to Ukraine, but here's what most people don't realize. Just because they send troops doesn't mean the US automatically is required to follow, breaking down NATO's Article 5. NATO Article 5 is a collective defensive, but there's a catch. Each country decides how they respond. It doesn't force the US to send troops, only to take action as it sees fit. The actions could be sanctions, military aid, or diplomatic moves, not necessarily boots on the ground. What if Trump says no? If Trump or any president refuses to send troops, NATO can't make the US do it. Boom. It would strain the relationship, but the alliance doesn't fall apart just because one country opts out. Other countries might set up their own military spending or create a new alliance, which has been heavily talked about already by other countries. What if the US pulls out of NATO? That's a whole different story. If the US withdraws from NATO entirely, it would shake up global security. Security for who? For them. We're nowhere near everybody. Like he said, we have beautiful oceans in between us. We pay to protect them. They don't pay their portion. We all know that already, right? Russia would see it as a huge win. European nations would be left scrambling for defense. The US would lose strategic military bases in Europe, and allies might stop trusting in Americans' protection. Let them. At this point, let them. We don't care. Why do we have to protect everybody else? It's just factual. In my opinion, this is my opinion. These are my thoughts. So no, the US isn't forced to send troops just because Europe does. But if the US leaves NATO, that's a game changer for global power. Whose global power? I don't think that it affects our global power. Maybe we lose the ability to have some bases where we have them in the European nation, and in the UK. But at the end of the day, we want peace. We don't want war. So what are we talking about here, right? What do you think? Should they stay in NATO or it goes away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me ask ChatGPT one more question, because I'm hearing that Zelensky said now he wants to sign the mineral deal, but let me confirm that. Just as I suspected, he's probably seen that Americans are done, and Americans just quite frankly can give a care of what happens in Ukraine after his public stunt in the Oval Office, and I think that that's possibly why he's ready to come back and say he's sorry and probably do a public apology, because it just, all the numbers that keep coming out are, we don't care here in America. Americans are done. And again, remember, we're the majority. Doesn't matter how loud they are in the media and how many bots they have all over social media. At the end of the day, most Americans don't want to continue the war. We all would rather have peace worldwide is what we're all looking for. So with that said, enjoy your night.